In this video, we're going to be showing you how we are going to lay ElastoCrete over the top of commercial carpet. It's something that's very unique, and nothing that we know of can do the same thing that this can do. So we're going to lay mesh over the top of this carpet, and we're going to pour this entire room seamless.
Make sure you staple down your mesh and overlap it 2 inches. When using a larger mixer to mix the product, make sure you always add the liquid first and then your powders. You can then add pigment or whatever you need to color. By using a vacuum system, you can keep dust from going up in the air, especially when you're adding the powders or the sands. Once your liquid is in, you want to turn the mixer on before you add any powders or sands. This will ensure that it gets a thorough mixing and your sand and your powder will not clump together. You also want to scrape the sides with a margin trowel to make sure that there's nothing stuck to the side, just like that. When you're adding different colors into a floor or countertop, you can separate it into smaller buckets like this. And then what we'll do is we'll pour out the buckets onto the floor, and in this particular project, we're just going to add a little bit of color here and there and Gage rake it in to give it a limestone look. Once you've poured out the product, you can use a 3/8 inch Gage rake to spread it around evenly. We then use the blower to level it out and pop some of the smaller bubbles. You want to work the blower in a circular pattern over the top of the surface. This will help spread things out evenly, and you also want to start a little bit higher to make sure that the blower doesn't blow the product everywhere. Here's a quick bicep check. There it went. Don't be afraid to leave a little product in the bucket. It has a great pot life. Just pour out enough to make sure that you can manage the product evenly and spread it out. If you can, you want the whole entire floor prepped before you start, but in unique situations such as this where we were having to shoot with a camera, you can start halfway, but we prefer to have it all done so you can pour out one continuous pour. Around walls or doors, sometimes it's just a little bit easier to use a margin trowel to spread the material. So if you find that there's a situation where you need a margin trowel, go ahead and use it and then just blow over. When you're working in a small room, you want to make sure and work your way out of the room as to not have to step on the product. But if you do need to step on the product, if you see a low spot or otherwise, you'll use a spiked shoe, which is going to be shown here later in the video. This is where the shoes come in handy when you're looking for low spots and you need to step on the material. Those spike shoes are great. We're just about finished with our ElastoCrete masterpiece, putting on the finishing touches. We'll let this dry around 4 to 6 hours and see if it's walkable. If it is, we'll cover it with plastic and we'll let it cure for 24 hours. Can you say absolutely fabuloso?